Hey you guys, welcome to another episode of Branding While Black. I'm your host, Shanae Washington, and my mission is to educate, empower, and economically develop my people. So this week, I have something special out there for all of the teachers, all of the educators, and all of the parents, right? So today's guest is Miss Khalia Murray, better known as to her students as Miss Murray. And she is the founder of Miss Murray's Corner. It's a virtual tutoring service for students from pre-K all the way up to the second grade. And she is amazing. Her energy is super contagious, is super energetic, and she is like the bomb.com for our kids out there. And she focuses a lot on literacy and math, which we know a lot of our kids typically struggle in that area. So we are about to hop into the interview. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you're tapping in with us on. Let's go. All right, you guys. So I want you to welcome Miss Khalia Murray, otherwise known as Miss Murray, to her students. Because I'm so glad you were able to make it to the guest chair and spend a little time with us in between, tutoring your students and all of that good stuff. I'm just so grateful you were able to just chop it up with me today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I was, number one, taken aback when you reached out, and I was just so excited because, of course, we haven't met, but the power of these social media that definitely connected us. So I'm excited to hear more about your journey and share mine with yours.
Absolutely. Well, let's do it. Let's get into it. I am open for questions too. So in anywho, but before we get started, like COVID made all of us get real creative in terms of how we reach our audience and how we make money and all of that stuff. And I've seen like a bunch of different businesses out there that really made you go, this probably could have been a thing before COVID, but did you ever imagine that this virtual environment would be something like a thing for like elementary age kids?
I didn't imagine it for elementary age kids, and I definitely didn't imagine it for myself. Some days I wake up and it's almost as if I feel like we're in the twilight zone. But never in my wildest dreams. I mean, I know that this generation of students are definitely more tech savvy just from the beginning in terms of like different applications they have access to. I can remember I have a host of nieces and nephews, but my nephew, he was like 1 at the time, but knew how to navigate my sister's phone, get on YouTube. Like these kids are just so tech savvy even before COVID happened. So
right.
When we eventually do get back to a sense of normalcy, I know that most kids, depending on the exposure that they've had, will probably be even more in tune with technology for sure.
Definitely. I really think that this is here to stay. Not COVID, but like this virtual setting, this work from home thing. I really don't think that that people are really gonna be willing to like go full on back to how it was before.
100%. I mean, I think that, of course, it'll be your preference, but I think because, we're going on almost a year. We don't know when this is going to end. People who have just become so content and comfortable with what they're doing that will probably be a requirement for jobs that they're looking for. Like, of course, there used to be like remote jobs, but no, like 100% remote is probably what people will be looking for now.
Right. I mean, and this is, I guess it's off topic. So we're definitely going to get to your backstory on how you became an educator. But just another quick note on that. Like, I really think that that companies and schools too are probably going to look at splitting up that time, like half of the time in the classroom, like maybe like predominantly on site, and then like the rest of it like at home. Like I really think that it's probably going to be like a hybrid, kind of like what some schools are doing now and like some workplaces. Just Miss Murray, can you just tell us about like your journey into becoming like an educator? Did you always want to do it, or were you like some of us that was like in college forever trying to figure it out?
Absolutely. I mean, I can remember as a little girl, I feel like I thought of every profession in the universe. But I went to Spelman College, and when I got there, I just knew I was going to be a lawyer, an entertainment lawyer. I was a political science major, and I took constitutional law. Brace yourselves. Hardest class ever took. Any like high school, college, middle school, whatever it was, the most difficult class. And I was just like, you know what? I just don't think law is for me. Like I could not all these cases. Like it was a
Had you
lot. I
rethinking
was
life a
very
little bit?
I was like, this is a lot. I was very interested, but I was just like, I don't know if this is for me. So as I said, I was a political science major, but was still open to like exploring different avenues. And again, I went to a liberal arts college, so I could kind of dibble and dabble and take other courses as well.
Right.
But I've always loved kids. I come from a huge family. I'm one of six, and I'm the youngest. So, of
Oh
course, just
Lord, the
being
baby.
yes, I'm the baby. But I have 11 nieces and nephews. I have 8 nieces, 3 nephews, and they range from 6 months to 11. So, huge family. I was always around kids, and I used to volunteer at an after school program here in Atlanta, and it was called Raising Expectations. And this is kind of really like cliche as it sounds, but this is kind of like my spiel. And I feel like just such a pivotal moment. I was working with a student, and he was just getting really frustrated with his assignments. I was, helping him with his homework, trying to encourage him. And he kind of just lashed out and had a breakdown. And he was like, this is stupid. Like, I don't want to do this. I just want to go to jail like my dad. So, me and a couple of my friends, we went together, and I had told them about it. And I was just like, that was so heartbreaking. Like to hear this young man, he had to be about
Right.
8 years old, if not younger. And just like, this is so sad that he feels this way. So I just thought about, how could I kind of couple education with my political science major? And the UNCF was actually like an extremely big turning point in my life. I did an internship with them, and it was called the UNCF Education Reform Fellowship, and they
Mhm.
housed the interns at different education placements. So I was placed at an organization called Building Excellent Schools in Boston, Massachusetts, and they pretty much have a fellowship themselves, and they train school leaders how to open up their own public schools rather.
Oh,
Some
nice.
going on being in charter, but of course, charter is a type of public school. So I just got so intrigued with the charter school world and just the different policies that, school leaders were trying to implement in their own schools. Because of course, as a charter school, you're very autonomous. So just having the ability to have different things that you want to see in your school. And from there, I graduated from Spelman the next year, and I moved to DC. I was really interested in education policy, and I was like, what other place to be but DC? So
Right.
I started my career there. I taught pre-K for 3 years. Honestly, never thought I'd make it out. It was a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I taught in Southeast DC. As I said, I was a political science major, so I went through like a teacher preparation program, but it was just the mechanics that came with being a teacher: classroom management, pedagogy, instructional practices, almost being a counselor to them. Like it was so many moving pieces that
Right.
you just kind of had to piece together. Like every day was a fresh start. Um, it was very interesting experience, but I was there 3 years. But I was itching. My heart was in Atlanta. As I said, I went to school here, so I was really itching to get back to Atlanta. I moved back. I taught at a school for a year, and just haphazardly got another position at the school that I'm at now. It's a KIPP school, and I can honestly say that it is like the school that I feel like I've actually like found a home. Like I enjoy the leadership team, the families, the school. Like I feel like I found like my school home, I guess, so to speak. So that has kind of been my journey. So I taught pre-K for 3 years in DC, 2 years of kindergarten here in Atlanta, and I was also a grade level chair when I was in pre-K in DC, and now I'm working as an interventionist. So many people ask me, "What is that?" I
Okay,
was kind
that was
of
gonna be my question. Like,
yes. So of course, this is my first year in the role, so figuring it out kind of as I go. But pretty much, what an interventionist does is give students other opportunities to kind of fill in any gap. So whether that be, if a student is, you know, low in a particular area, or a little higher in a particular area, so giving them extra opportunities. Of course, depending on the school setting that you're in, like the schedules are very different because we're in the virtual world, so just giving them other opportunity to work on these skills once they sign off online.
right. Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, that is definitely some journey. So in your experience and as you're in it now, what what challenges do you think that our kids like that age or in that age range are facing? Because it seems like the deck is like really stacked against them, like from the start in terms
Absolutely.
of like education.
Yeah, there's so many moving pieces. I think in terms of gaps in technology, some students are fully virtual, so they are required to sign online every day. So most schools were given Chromebooks, iPads, whatever the type of technology it may be, but
Mhm.
some of those families may not have internet access. So, of course, schools go above and beyond to give hotspots, but sometimes the hotspots aren't as effective. So, it's like, okay, what do I do for a student that, number one, okay, they were given technology from the school, they were given a hotspot from the school, but either they're not signing on because their parents are just choosing not to have them on, or incapable of doing that due to time constraints, or the technology isn't working. So it's like, okay, so that student's now going to fall behind. So
Right.
what do you do to fill in those gaps in that situation? Another thing, I think this is actually really big right now in the education world. Some teachers are actually trying to do like almost, I guess, like a call out day, but like make it nationwide due to standardized testing. So my school, I wouldn't say that we did participate with some standardized testing, but I know some
Uh-huh.
schools are going full force, like in every subject, and still requiring them to do it. So that is definitely, putting the odds against students, because the technology is already lacking. So if we
Right.
have a gap in technology, how are they going to complete the test? Or we
Right.
have parents taking tests for students. So it's just a lot of moving pieces. It's a lot.
Yeah, and see, I didn't even think about the standardized testing. I would assume that like they would like these kids would get like an excuse, like an exception, like for like the whole school year. Like
Mhm.
we're
So,
in
which
we're
I
in a
think
freaking
it should.
pandemic.
Exactly, because I know for most colleges, like the SAT, ACT, like they're not requiring them. So why are we requiring middle schoolers, elementary school kids to take a state test? That doesn't make any sense.
And I mean, like so many follow-up questions. But I mean, but how would they even administer it? Like
It's just online, but it's not effective. Needless to say, it's not
yeah, I
effective,
can't
and you're
even
not. The
imagine.
kids are if they're already not engaged on the computer. What makes like just for regular class? What makes you think they're going to be engaged for a test?
Exactly.
So it's silly. So
Exactly.
it's like the data is skewed, and is you can't really use the data because it's not accurate.
Exactly. So, but they're making decisions from that data though. So,
Exactly.
okay, so you brought up, the kids maybe not, but having some challenges and, trying to focus in the virtual world or even like assess it. But why did you choose pre-K through second grade as like your target students for your
Gotcha.
business? Like does that come with any challenges? I'm sure it does. Like especially for like the younger babies. Like how
Mhm.
how exactly are you doing this?
So like I said, I've taught pre-K, I've taught kindergarten. So those are my babies. Those are, the students that I'm most comfortable with. And I wanted to go up to first and second grade because honestly, it's like the standard spiral up. Pre-K to kinder, kinder to first, first and second. It's just like repetition of the same skills and just kind of expanding on it. Eventually, I do want to open it up to higher grades. So I'm thinking of, partnering with other teachers to maybe have them work under me, just to kind of broaden it because, like you said, like all students need help right now.
Right.
But I honestly enjoy it, and I do one-on-one sessions, so it just makes it. Actually, my youngest student is a 3-year-old, so that is tons of fun.
How
But
is
like
that happening?
all the songs, all the okay, I need you to be a statue, like all taking all the teacher moves out 100%. But I love the littles. In the classroom with 30 is not easy, but on the computer with one, you can definitely target them and like get to the skills that they need to get to.
That's amazing. I love that. I love it, love it. So do you only service the kids in Atlanta or like right now, or are you like nationwide?
So I would say nationwide right now, I'm working with students in Atlanta, Virginia, and New Jersey.
Nice,
So
nice.
a wide range. Like you also like some of them I haven't even met in person. Like some are family friends, but some are just like family on the internet kind of thing.
Nice. So, I mean, so they found you online. So, like, did you have to do like any kind of like hard sell to these parents to like have them pay you for your services?
Honestly, no. So I started in May. In May, kind of just doing little sessions with, like I said, family friends. My sister has a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, so she has her mom tribe. So she was definitely like sending people to me, just past students. And then, I did it for May, and then my own nieces and nephews. May up until about July. So July is when I made it official. I got incorporated as an LLC. Like I made my website. And I think once I started kind of branding myself and putting it more on social media, that's when parents were just kind of hitting me up. Like, okay, this is what we want. I honestly, it really was an easy sell. They kind of were already sold by the time they
Right.
came to me, I would say. And then also I found that a lot I just recently, like I said, I've been an educator for at the time 5 years, this going into my 6th year, and I had never made like a teacher Instagram. So teacher Instagram, teacher YouTube is apparently the rave. Like it's its own little community of people that
But
I
tell me
never
something. I didn't know.
that yes, that I never knew about. Like they have little cliques. It's like the in crowd. Like it's a whole thing. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I had found that once I did get on there, marketing yourself is like other teachers would share it and just kind of spread the word. So yes, I would say it does have clicks, but it's also a very like supportive system in a good way to kind of market yourself in all avenues as far as like resources, whether it's tutoring. Some people have other educational services. So really just pumping your brand out.
That's really, really cool. So basically your business started or it expanded with just by just word of mouth and just kind of networking within your niche.
Yeah, honestly, that's what it was. It really was. Once I kind of got started and doing like my first, like made a logo, it was very quick.
Right.
A very quick turnaround to the point where now I'm honestly turning down people because it's only me. So I also don't want to like spread myself too thin. Like I have 8 students that I work with throughout the week, and I think that that's a good time right now. So we'll see about in the new year in 2021 what we can do. But right now I'm sold on my 8 for now.
So do you see the students every day or is it like every other day or once a
So
week?
it depends on the family, like the parents' wishes. A couple students I see 2 times a week, and then the rest I see 1 time a week. My one, I guess you could say, he's my longest customer. I had been working with him all throughout the summer, but I worked with him Monday through Thursday. So once school came about, and then I also had other clients that had to tell his mom like, I love you guys, but we have to shorten it a little bit. So I do
Right.
him 2 days a week for an hour, and everyone else is pretty much like 30 minutes.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
And I think
So,
now the because we are back in virtual school, I think the 30 minutes will suffice for most kids because they're on the computer all day,
all day,
which is
right? Definitely. So I love that you focus on like all the things with like literacy and math, of course. And I feel like that's where a lot of our kids struggle with in general. So I love that you do that. So like, can you take us through like what a typical session would look like?
okay. So okay, I guess you could say my 30-minute sessions are more frequent than the hour. But what a 30-minute session would look like, if it's, let's just say for reading, I'm working on reading with the students. We would do a guided reading activity. So before we start, I send the parent their lesson of what we're going to go through. So I'll already have it down for them to review. We'll go through the characters, any sight words in the book, any words they need to know, and then we'll also discuss guided reading strategies. So, chunky monkey, it's pretty much you look for chunks in the word, then you blend it together and see, okay, does this make sense within the sentence? We'll go through stretchy snake. So, let's say you take a word, you get to a word, I see a, don't know what the next word would be. I would tell them, okay, look at the first letter in the word, the letter C. Okay, what sound does it make? It makes a sound. Now look at the picture. What do you see in the picture? Oh, that's a cat. Now read the sentence and see if it makes sense. I see a cat. Now you've read the whole sentence by yourself. So just giving them those strategies that they could use to decode a word. So then we'll go through the book, we'll read the book, and I'll encourage them to, okay, if they get stumped on a word they don't know, go back to those strategies we just discussed so they can find it. That's kind of what
Okay.
a guided reading lesson would look like. If we were doing math, I usually try to like hook kids. Most the kids that I work with, they like math, but it's not their fave. So I usually start with like a catchy song. For example, I actually just made a resource on Teachers Pay Teachers for this. So like coins, for example, if you were
Oh,
learning
I
about
saw that one.
I would just like start them off with like a catchy song about coins. Then we'd go through our lesson in terms of identifying coins, identifying their value, and then I'd kind of quiz them. Okay, now we've gone through these. I want you to tell me how many of each coin do you see? I have three nickels. Let's just say. I want you to count these up. What's the value of all these coins altogether? So giving them multiple opportunities for them to do it themselves as well. And then I always provide a follow-up assignment for them to work on. So if it was reading related, I'd probably have comprehension questions or just pulling out things about the setting, the characters, the plot, depending on their age group. And usually for math, I use this website called Boom Learning. So they're digital cards essentially that will be related to the topic that we discussed. And then we usually do like a Go Noodle or like a Kids Bop song at the end. Actually, it's so funny because one of my students that he's been working with me the longest, literally since the summer. So I guess we'll say about 6 months at this point. He's
Uh-huh.
gotten to the point where he's like, I just want to push through. He's like, I don't want to do wiggles anymore. So I'm like, okay.
He's over it.
He's like, listen, I'm done with the wiggles. Let's do our learning, and then we'll be good.
Well, first of all, I heard the coin song, and I thought that it was really catchy. So that's really awesome. But I need to address these bedtime story chronicles that you
Aw.
do on your IG. So I was able to catch one of them, and I actually, was sitting down with my daughter, and like I was trying to get her ready for bed, and I was just scrolling on IG being an unfit mother while I'm trying to get her to bed. I'm just scrolling on IG, and I came across like that you were going live. I was like, oh, it's like nighttime. Like, what's going on here?
Why are you on here?
Right. Like what is Miss Murray doing at 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night? So anyway, so when I clicked on it, I was like, oh, they're doing a read along. So I sat my daughter up and we just, we just watched and listened, and I just thought it was so freaking cool. Like there's so many like dope like children's like Black children's book authors out there, and I just think that it's really cool like what you do of even bringing some of them on. Like what was the inspiration behind that?
So as a little girl, I loved to read. I loved reading chapter books, just anything. Reading was kind of my thing. And I used to take creative writing. So I used to write also. And like I said, I'm the baby. So I have hopes of brothers. I have 4 brothers and a sister. And I remember one of my brothers, he used to always read me a story before I went to bed. So that was kind of like our
Oh,
bonding
good big
time,
brother.
I guess, so to speak. Now I ask him and he's like, I don't remember that. But he used to read me a story before I went to bed. And I had been seeing a lot of people were kind of doing things on, I did kind of see an influx of, there was just so many number one authors coming out with books. And some people were doing live readings of it. So when I first started, like I said, I have so many nieces and nephews. Me and my niece, we did it first. She also loves to read and she just wrote a book, her and her brother. So I had her come on and it was just a book she had chose. I think it was the Bernstein Bears, but people loved it so much. I'm like, wow, okay, well, why don't I showcase authors too? So I'm, open to whatever, like it can be young children. You don't have to be an author. If you are, that's amazing. You can come on and read your book too. So I've mostly been doing young children and or authors. So it's been really
Nice.
cool just to showcase number one, young children reading, period. Just, their reading skills. I had 3 of my nieces come on and it just captivated the audience, just seeing young children engage in reading. And then also just showcasing different authors and giving them a platform to, share their new books. So I've enjoyed it a lot. It's
Absolutely.
really fun. Everyone's like, okay, is it? I'm like, okay, I can only do it once a month. I'm already booked as it is, but
I
it's been a
love
good time.
it. Well, definitely keep doing them because I think that is so freaking cool. And actually, when I saw it, it reminded me. So Netflix has the the read-alongs now. It's kind of set up kind of like reading, like what was it? Reading
Reading
Rainbow.
Rainbow.
Yeah,
Reading
but
Rainbow.
but but it's for Black authors, and stuff. So I thought, so when I saw yours, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like it reminded me of that because me and my daughter had already watched all of the episodes of the one on Netflix. So like so this is more in real time for us. So anyway, so definitely keep doing it because it's amazing.
Well, we have our next one coming up December 15th. So I'll make sure I'll send you the flyer. And we're going to do a book giveaway also. So I'll be
Yeah.
sure to let you know.
Thank you so much. Um, okay, so we're going to be wrapping up in a minute, but I wanted to know, just with everything going on and all of the awesomeness that you're serving our young people, what advice do you have to give both other Black educators, parents, students, on how to get through all of this foolishness with their sanity and their
Whew,
grades if they're students?
that's a loaded question. Well,
I
I am no
know.
expert and I am definitely still trying to figure it out for myself, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. But I would just say a piece of mindful advice that everyone could take is ooh, just have grace. Have grace with yourself. If you're a parent, definitely have grace for yourself, for your students, teachers, and for your kids. They need love. They need love right now. They just need their parents to be there for them in every aspect. And then I would also say to just kind of get in tune with what your needs. What are your needs? What are your interests? Things you like, things you don't like, because we're going to be in the house for a while. We're going to be here for a while. So just kind of
Right.
getting in tune with that creative side. Not saying you have to create your own business. This totally came up haphazardly. I never thought I would have a tutoring business at all, but I think that it came kind of for me at the just right time. Like I said, like in my past positions, I was stressed out as an educator. Sometimes I was, questioning kind of, is this for me? But I feel that now, like, this gives me an opportunity to reach kids in a way that I'm not stressed. I can do it in the comfort of my own home and just relax and have fun. So I would say just, find what makes you happy right now and have grace with
Definitely.
yourself.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And first of all, and I'm glad that you said that because that was going to be one of the last things that I said, but that most people have fears around starting a business. And especially in today's climate of starting a business in the middle of a pandemic, thinking, well, everybody's trying to, conserve their money and don't nobody have money to spend with me and, just having all these fears. But you started your business you saw the need, you saw it more as a necessity, and you just really jumped in. It seemed like you jumped in really with no fears that I know that people need this. I know that these kids need it. And I know that, I can bring some value to these families that are trying to navigate this new virtual learning world. So is that a fair assessment?
No, I think that you kind of hit it nail on the head. I wouldn't say that I was really nervous at all. I think that I just kind of went into it with my head on straight. I'm a very organized person, so just keeping all my things together and just trying to meet deadlines that I had for myself. And I would say probably the biggest obstacle that I have faced during this time is spreading myself too thin. So now I feel like I've kind of put a cap at the students that I'm working with, excuse me. I now have like taken back over my schedule. So I'm making time for myself, not overbooking, but just making time for the things that make me happy, as well as Miss Murray's Corner. At one point, I
Awesome.
did kind of feel like everything I did had to do with this. And I said, okay, I need to take a step back.
All
So I'm not
right.
stressed, but, just having fun with it. So I would definitely say that.
Amazing. Amazing. So tell the lovely people how they can get in contact with you and connect with you on, any way you choose to.
Okay. So almost on every platform, I'm at Miss Murray's Corner, on YouTube, on Instagram, and my website is www.missmurrayscorner.com. So you can find me everywhere with the same name. Keep it simple.
Yes, yes. So I just want to thank you again for taking the time to spend with us and sharing your wisdom and and your experience. And thank you for sharing your passion of educating our little kids on things that they need that they may be missing out on with everything going on. So just thank you so much for everything.
No, thank you so much for having me and just having this platform for other African Americans to just come on and, express all the things that they have to share. So thank you. And thank you for the work that you're doing too. I know for a fact being an entrepreneur is not easy. It's no easy
It
feat.
is
So
not.
you are doing it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right, you guys, I hope that you really enjoyed that interview with Miss Khalia. She is amazing, and I'm so excited to see what she has to come in the future. To find out how you can get tapped in on her virtual tutoring sessions for your kids, go on ahead and visit her website at missmurrayscorner.com, or you can reach out to her on Instagram, also at Miss Murray's Corner, And she has really cool, engaging videos for our kiddos on YouTube, also at Miss Murray's Corner. So please reach out to her. She is amazing, and her spirit is also equally amazing. So now, if you want to connect with me, be sure to text BWB to my number, which is 504-499-0857. Or you can follow me on Instagram, which is Shanae J. Washington. All right, you guys, I look forward to seeing you next week. I love you. Peace.